I have some images also, if you could load the first one. My name is Logan Malaturi. I currently reside in Camden, New Jersey, the fourth most dangerous city in the U.S. I moved there after I got out to avoid running away from the violence that I experienced in Iraq. It's my hope that if I can stop running from it, embrace it, not embrace it, but not let it conquer me, that's, I think, what has had the most healing effect on me. So a lot of people have asked me why I'm here today. I was a cynic when I joined IVAW. I was very hesitant to advocate for the immediate withdrawal of troops. I've had a change of heart. So anyway, that being said, I enlisted in the United States Army February 16th of 2000. I shipped out on active duty on August 9th of that same year. I was immediately assigned to the 82nd Airborne. I went through airborne training. I was there just under 2 years. On September 11th, I was in the dentist chair getting 3 teeth pulled, so I got the privilege of watching the news for the next 3 days straight. When the prospect of Afghanistan came up, I volunteered to go. I was an E3 at the time, and I didn't have enough rank to pull the strings to get me into the right brigade that was going, so I didn't get to go. My second option, I decided to re-enlist for Hawaii and the 25th Infantry Division and go green to gold and become an officer. So I was very committed to the military when I initially enlisted, even though I mostly did so for college money. Next slide, please. About a year into my time in Hawaii, I deployed on January 19th, 2004. I was with 114 Golden Dragons, 2nd Brigade, 25th Infantry Division, and at that point it had the light indicator still. Now it's a striker unit. The image you're looking at is riding on the bathroom wall in the Kirkuk Air Base, or Forward Operating Base Warrior. One of my compatriots apparently decided to list the different places that my battalion has seen. And I'm showing it to you because it's hard for me to say that we had any amount of predictability in Iraq. After 2 months being in Tuz Karmatu, a small airfield south of Kirkuk, we picked up and we were assigned to be a quick reaction force for the country. And so I traveled to all these different FOBs. FOB Bernstein initially in Tuz Karmatu, FOB Duke in Najaf twice, FOB Maras in Mosul, FOB Warrior in Kirkuk, FOB Sykes in Telfar, Operation Baton Rouge in Samara, and FOB McHenry in Hawija. And then we redeployed in February 15th, 2005. I came back and let a lot of it stew. I didn't really do too much with it. And after about 6 months, because of a lot of different things going on in my life, I began to re-embrace Christian faith. I told myself I was a Christian basically my whole life. And I came to see that that faith obligates me to nonviolence. I applied to be a conscientious objector. I asked my unit, my commander specifically, that to return to Iraq without a weapon, I asked to be a non-combatant. And through the process of being a CO and having an interview with the psychiatrist, I was given a diagnosis of maladjustment disorder because every soldier is trained to be an infantryman first. So the idea of a soldier going to battle without a weapon is incomprehensible. When the reality is we have 2 Congressional Medal of Honor winners who are conscientious objectors, Desmond Doss in World War II and Thomas Bennett, who was killed in Vietnam. Both were unarmed medics. And I wanted to carry on that legacy. I felt very strongly about nonviolence and providing alternatives to violence in the middle of combat. As a result of that, my commanders were convinced I had some grand scheme to get out of the Army. They told me I was aiding the enemies of America, that I didn't deserve my rank. I was an E5 at the time. And they reassigned me after I had to apply pressure because they were sitting on my procedure, on my application without doing anything. I got reassigned to a rear detachment battalion, and one of the most difficult days of my life was August 7th, 2006, watching my unit deploy without me, knowing I wouldn't be there with them. So I ETS'd. I got out of the active duty November 21st, 2006. I was in the West Bank at the time after a month of terminal leave. And my MSO, my military service obligation, my IRR time expired February 15th of this year. Next slide, please. I wanted to preface what I'm saying just by stating that nothing I'm sharing with you today should be misconstrued as an attack on the military. I've witnessed my fair share of bad social and economic situations that have been alleviated by one's enlistment in the Army. Furthermore, one's experience in the service is less dependent upon the institution itself than on the people he or she shares that experience with. And as we have and will continue to see, many members of the armed forces have displayed the capacity to abuse the authority granted them by their rank or their office. And finally, it's my personal opinion that individual militarization causes significant and often irreversible injury to one's physical, social, and spiritual health. I was a forward observer in the active duty for 6 years. And I'm not sure if anybody else has noticed. I want to make a quick comment about the tagline, Eyewitness Accounts of the Occupations. The first sense of occupation is obvious. We're occupying a sovereign nation without the consent or the support of the international community. But the second sense I noticed sitting in the first panel this morning, in that sense of occupation, there's a disturbing minority that enter Iraq with a profit motive, who make their money from war, and whose occupation is to extend and prolong this war to the benefit of their pocketbooks. I thought that was really interesting. My mind works really fast, so I thought I'd throw that out at you guys. Next slide, please. As I said, my unit moved around a lot. This picture was taken in Mosul just prior to the elections in January 2005. And it's fairly representative of most of my time there. The ROE would change. First of all, it was mostly verbal. We never were given ROE cards. When Adam Kokesh this morning flashed one in front of everybody, that was actually the first time I saw it. I didn't think they existed. I thought they were one of those stress cards that people get in basic that are mostly rumors. So we never got any concrete ROE that actually defined what our mission was and what our levels of aggression were allowed to be. We were told, I think there were 4 S's, or maybe 5. Let me see if I remember correctly. Signal, shout, shove, shoot. I'm sorry. Signal, shout, show, shove, shoot. And that was the extent of what our ROE was on a running basis. The golden rule, one that we could always count on, was that if you feel threatened, don't hesitate to use your weapon if you feel it's necessary. So that was our license. If something occurred, we could always say that we were threatened. And I think that I observed that a couple of times with other members of my unit.